Soldier boy, tell.
You already know what time it is. It's Best Ball Mania 5 drafting time. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Garage. I'm Chris the Candyman. Follow me on Twitter at FFB Garage. And let's get this going. We need 6 more people to fill up the lobby. What's going on tonight? Oof. Man, how'd it get so late so quick on a Wednesday? I was out late last night. It's another late night. All right, the room's filled. This draft's gonna start soon. Let's see what we got. Drafting from the 11 spot. We got Off the Schneid in the room. I don't see anyone else I know though or recognize yet. 11 spot, that's not bad. Let's see what we can get. Probably looking at, based off my ranks that I've got loaded in here. We'll see who falls. Could be A.J. Brown or a Gibbs team. All right, the draft starting. I've gotten my fair share of CMC in the 1 spot. I think the 2 spot is the spot I haven't really gotten a lot to draft from yet. I don't have that many CeeDee Lamb teams, and that's definitely like a stack that I want to build up is some Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. I've gotten my fair share of Tyreek so far, especially in my BBM 5s. Somehow I ended up with a lot of Tyreek in the big board too, but that was like pretty much the easiest stack to pull off is either Waddle or Tyreek with Tua. Tua generally falls if you can avoid the drafter who takes the other Dolphins wide receiver. What's up, Tyler? Yeah, just bumping these jams, kicking off another draft. Trying to keep up. This is my 28th BBM 5, so I feel like I'm on a steady pace. Took a few days off from drafting. Took a couple days off, but I got a lot of drafting in over the last weekend. Let's see if A.J. Brown falls. I've been feeling like it would be good to build out. He doesn't fall. Stacks around quarterbacks with high rushing upside, and that would have been Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. It's okay that Puka goes there. I think I'm going to take Gibbs with my first pick, and then we'll see who I can get. Probably looking at either Nico Collins or Devontae Adams with my second pick. Yeah, going Jamar Gibbs. I'm fine with either of them. I could also take Brandon Ayuk, which feels like pretty fair with this start. It'll be fun to build out. I just took Nico in my last draft, so I don't want to go overboard. I don't want to miss out on my exposure to guys like Brandon Ayuk. So it's pretty much a toss-up at the turn there, which of those wide receivers I would take. Definitely taking them in front of Drake London right now. Probably Marvin Harrison too for the time being. and definitely Garrett Wilson. So when Garrett Wilson goes before my pick in the second round, I don't really get that upset. I'm going to try to build out a team with probably either a hero running back in Gibbs, or I could also build out more of like a stack through the 49ers. We'll see if Kittle comes back later in the draft. Laporta coming back could be interesting for just building out this Week 17 correlation where the Lions are playing the 49ers. All right, so I go Jamar Gibbs and Brandon Ayuk with my first 2 picks. After I took Brandon Ayuk, Marvin Harrison goes, followed by Drake London and Devontae Adams. In my ranks, I'm kind of thinking I'm going to draft Devontae Adams most of the time over Drake London and Marvin Harrison, but up until now, I've been probably taking more London. I have a decent amount of Kirk Cousins. I think he's one of my top drafted quarterbacks, so I'm going to dial that back a little bit. Try to draft more Devontae Adams. Even Chris Olave, I mean, I could see him being someone you can take at any point in the second round. I view the second round picks as, oh, howdy, brother. Yeah, catch you next time. Thanks for joining the stream. Appreciate you. Yeah, Chris Olave, decent pick in the second round. I pretty much view all of the second round wide receivers as a toss-up for the most part. There's some nuances to the picks, but I feel like any of those guys could really do it for you in the playoffs and be the guy you need, be that top scoring wide receiver for the week. So you even see Nico go at the 23rd pick overall, and I'm fine with taking Nico at really any point in the second round. I think if he's the guy you need, if he has a huge week in either week 17 or week 16, then and he puts on, you know, kind of his career best year during the regular season, so it doesn't hurt you with your advance either, then he could be, you know, one of those guys that just you had to have had. I feel like he has that kind of ceiling, Nico Collins. Definitely when you see, you know, the projections for Stroud and just what his year 2 is going to look like, it's probably trending up. And so when I think of the ceiling for a wide receiver in the Texans offense versus Kirk Cousins led Falcons, I mean, honestly, even I think Devontae is kind of quarterback proof, but even with Devontae, there's just not the same single game ceiling. I mean, you say that, but then like last year, I think it was week 15 or week 16, the Raiders put up 63 points. All right, so Nico Collins goes, Kyron, DK Metcalf. The team that took CD and Nico also takes Steph Diggs. It's almost my third round pick. Laporta seems to be falling. The team with Debo and Christian McCaffrey, they both passed on the tight end. Malik Neighbors goes, also a great pick in the third round. DJ Moore's a great pick in the third round. Devonta Smith, they're off the board. ETN is taken at 20th overall. You don't really see that. Sometimes you get him falling in like the mid 40s. Michael Pittman Jr. definitely goes in this range. Not a guy that I've been taking a ton in the third round. Definitely a spot where I'm thinking Laporta, if not Cooper Kupp or Zay Flowers or even Tank Dell. And I'm trying to think of a way I could incorporate like one of these QBs with a huge rushing upside, even though I don't really have that built into my team so far. I'm only 2 picks in. I'm going to take Laporta here. I think I've got a good shot of getting at least one wide receiver that I like to come back around. I took Zay Flowers. Actually, the more I think about it, I'm going to force him to take Laporta. Maybe he won't do it. Josh Allen and Sam Laporta. But anytime you can get Josh Allen and Laporta, that's a pretty sweet start. Although he did start out with Jonathan Taylor and Garrett Wilson. I don't really love his first 2 picks, but his second 2 are pretty sweet at that value, Josh Allen and Laporta. I think I'll go Tank Dell here and just play into building out my wide receiver room. Spending more draft capital on wide receiver up front gives me more freedom to take a quarterback later. I definitely feel like this is a team where I'm going to want an elite tight end. All right, and so taking Gibbs that early, definitely going to hold off on running back for a while if I can make the elite tight end happen at my next pick, which is going to be 59th and then 62nd overall. And look at that. Sam Laporta, Tank Dell, Trey McBride, and Travis Kelce. First 4 picks in the 4th round. There's a run on tight ends, elite tight ends in this round. Really in the 4th and the 5th, you can usually get, if you've built your team right, and you haven't taken too many detours from the early draft capital allocation on wide receivers, then the teams look pretty good. They go 3 wide receiver, take an elite tight end. A lot of times those teams look great early on, and you can really have a lot of different options, different pass catchers to play around with, either drafting running backs for week 17 bringbacks, or stacking the quarterback with that pass catcher that you drafted early on. So that's a strategy I like, just to make like a really simple team build. And it works especially well with any of the picks, really 2 through 6, unless you take Bijan or Brees a little bit earlier. But I think I'm still drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown at 6 overall. Last week I was even thinking about taking him around pretty much being a toss-up with Jefferson and Jamar Chase, but I never ended up getting one of those spots to, I think, one time, and I still took Jefferson one time and took Chase one time over Amon-Ra, but considered it, pretty much a toss-up. I'm not worried about J.J. McCarthy with Justin Jefferson. I think he's definitely quarterback proof, and he'll still get his on any given week. I think with the Lions, though, there might just be the ability to generate more total points on offense, and if it comes down to having higher touchdown upside, I think there's a chance that Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra St. Brown are just in a better position with their team to score more on the average week than maybe the Vikings. But we'll see. I believe in J.J. McCarthy. I just don't know if his rookie season's going to be yo, what up? Flatulent Fantasy, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining the stream. Make sure you smash that like, hit the sub, turn on notifications if you're crazy, if you're up late draft and you want to jump in these drafts with me. I don't really have a set schedule yet, but pretty much just drafting when I can and trying to get at least one in a day. Maybe stream it when I can. So because I took Zay Flowers and Tank Dell with my last 2 picks, definitely could have been in the position to take advantage of a CJ Stroud falling to the back of the 5th round, and that's exactly where I'd want to take him. But he goes to the Nico Collins, Steph Diggs team, of course. Christian McCaffrey, that team started off with, in the first spot, with 2 running backs, and it goes DK Metcalf, Amari Cooper, Hollywood Brown. I don't love that start. Christian Kirk, I think he's a really solid pick in the 5th round right now. Probably going to end up in the 4th round. I could see him going ahead of guys like Amari Cooper, Hollywood Brown, T. Higgins, George Pickens, even maybe right up there next to Terry McLaurin. I mean, Terry McLaurin, I think, is also a good pick in the 4th round. So think that's where he should be going. Man, there's a run on QBs and elite tight ends right now. Dalton Kincaid, Patrick Mahomes, Kyle Pitts. Mahomes going 54 overall. That's about right, but the team with Travis Kelce misses out, and already had Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown. Got that Eagles stack. I would really like to get Mark Andrews for my next pick. Xavier Worthy is a top option for me. I don't think I can take Mixon with this build if I want to get an elite tight end because Kittle's going to be there. The thing is, I can push it. I don't think the 12 spot drafter is going to take two tight ends back to back. I mean, there's always a chance, but I could bet on taking Worthy and then on the way back get Andrews or Kittle. I think that's pretty safe, and I get what I think is a little bit higher upside in taking Worthy and ensuring I get him first at 59. He probably needs to go wide receiver unless he's just going to abandon his team here with Garrett Wilson through 5 rounds. What's he going to do? He goes Alvin Kamara. He reaches for a running back. Come on. Let me get Andrews in the 6th. Here we go. Mark Andrews. Team stacked with Zay Flowers. Tank Dell bring back. I've got 4 wide receivers through 6 rounds. Started off with a hero RB, Jamar Gibbs. You love it when a plan comes together. I've got huge bets right now on the Texans playing Week 17 against the Baltimore Ravens. It's in a dome in Houston. Shout out H-Town. Down the street, I can see NRG if I look out my front door. And Xavier Worthy is one of my favorite picks in the draft. And I think getting him, you're paying a lot to get him in the 5th round. But I think it's worth it for the upside. And I want more pieces of Chiefs offensive skill position players on my team. Jamar Gibbs, I think huge upside. I'm fine with David Montgomery, but Gibbs is a back that you can feel good about drafting in the 1st round or at the beginning of the 2nd round. So yeah, that's the build so far. 1 running back, 4 wide receivers, and a tight end. Mark Andrews in the 6th round, steal of the draft in my opinion so far. We made it happen, and yeah, so that's through 6 rounds. Let's see, after that, Joe Mixon goes, and Calvin Ridley, George Kittle. With my next pick, what should I be taking here? Round 7, probably going to be soon enough going to be looking to running back again, just by the nature of the board and what's available there. There's usually a run, a dead zone kind of that comes up towards the middle of the 8th round where wide receivers just dry up, and you're going to have some of these kind of non-elite, kind of middle, 2nd tier tight ends that go, a few quarterbacks that'll go. I think I could be looking quarterback and running back with some of my next couple picks. I missed out on Stroud and Lamar Jackson. You know, how soon do I take Brock Purdy? Do I take Brock Purdy with pick 107? If I want Brock Purdy on my team, I think that would work out. We'll have to see what the drafter in the 12 spot's going to do there. He's got Josh Allen. I wouldn't put it past him to take another quarterback. He's only got 2 wide receivers. And if I try to push Purdy like I did with Mark Andrews, he could snap him up with pick 109 just because it's a QB at ADP kind of later in the draft when some drafters might be looking for a QB2 at that point, even though they really don't need it with a Josh Allen build. Yeah, what am I going to do with this next pick? Man. Let's see if I can get a running back to fall. Maybe even a wide receiver. Who's going to be there at pick? What was it? It's like 83. 86. Rice. Hawkins. I don't know if I want to draft Watson. JSN, Watson. I don't think I'm going to take Kyler without Marvin Harrison Jr. or Trey McBride on my team. It just doesn't feel very fun. Not going to go for Dak without CeeDee Lamb very often. Unless I also didn't have a tight end, then what you can do is you can double click when he's there. Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson's been kind of creeping up the board. I see him going towards the front end of the 7th round way more often than he had been going. You used to be able to get Jake Ferguson. You probably still can get him in like the early 90s. So seeing him go in the mid 70s is, I think, a bit early. Evan Ingram's a fine pick there. It does depend on kind of, I guess, your team build and what you're looking for. If you're going to take Trevor Lawrence, you probably want Evan Ingram. At least it helps. When Christian Kirk was out last season, Evan Ingram really took over as that go-to option for T-Law. Racked up tons of receptions and targets in that offense, so it could happen again. But I'm definitely a big Christian Kirk fan as well. He just goes a bit earlier. Sometimes it lines up nicely. 2 picks away. So all of the wide receivers I had targeted pretty much dried up. I think we're going to go with either Brooks or Ramondre here. Could also take Jalen Warren. Pick 83, no tight end, no wide receiver, no quarterback. I think I'm going to go Brooks here. I've got a lot of Brooks. I take him aggressively in this range of the draft. Who was I waiting for? I was going to try to push. Oh, that's Purdy with my next pick. Yo, what up, Bindles? The GOAT. Killing it, man. Awesome stuff with the streams lately. All right. The 12th spot. He takes a running back. He's still got 2 wide receivers through 7 rounds. I'm getting worried he's going to snipe me on Purdy with my next couple picks, if that's who I want to go for. Reaches on Khalil. So, I really kind of wish Rashee Rice was still there. I'm not going to bet on Jamison Williams, even though it feels like it would fit this team. I kind of want Jalen Warren over Ramondre. Yeah. It was a 50-50. I was going to keep swapping those guys until I took one. But honestly, with Ramondre's Week 14 bye week, and something I've been working on a lot lately is taking better care of my bye. My bye week's building up. I've already got so much draft capital on sitting out in Week 14. Zay, Tank, Mark Andrews, and having Ramondre out that week too, it just kind of lowers my ceiling, my ability to really score a lot of points that week. So I'm trying to be more cognizant of like the buys, although I'm not really that worried about it in general. I just think when I already feel like it's a toss-up. Oh, low 5 vibes, yeah. Thanks, dog. Yeah, just throwing on some no copyright stuff, just something to chill to in the background. Keep it chill. It's pretty late in the evening. Maybe a different hour, put on some different vibes, but yeah, feeling good. This time last night, I was out playing softball league, men's league, and we were out there doubleheader. Geez, we were out there till practically midnight, so I feel like I still have that energy built up today, or I'm kind of in like go mode and wanted to jump on and throw on a draft. Stream a draft, see what we could do. You know, I get in that mood where it's like I just want to draft 1 or 2, maybe 3 BBMs back to back and get a feel for what the market's giving us that day, like where players are going. And that's today's one of those days. Jalen Warren, Jonathan Brooks, Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm feeling really strong. I didn't think I was going to go that strong at running back, but didn't want to force a wide receiver selection after I spent 4 of my first 5 picks on wideouts. The problem is half the board's taking a QB, which means I think more than half. I counted up. 9 QBs are off the board. So we've well past kind of half of the QBs going. That's with Dak. Dak goes completely unstacked. But there's always a chance if you get some of these Cowboys that go late, like obviously Zeke, Dowdle. Ferguson went pretty early though. I could see Ferguson going 79 overall to off the Schneid, and then that works a little bit better just for his overall team build. But honestly, if you get value on Dak, I don't hate taking him there either, and you make it work later. Let's see, he got Devonta Smith, so that's another big plus. Oh, I didn't even notice he had Saquon Barkley. So anytime you can take a game stack and get players in the same game where you've already spent a lot of draft capital, I feel like it has a bigger payoff. So if you get a falling value there, it actually ends up being a pretty sweet grab. I think it's everyone's got 1 QB, 10 teams at least, but no one's taken 2. Kind of feel like I don't want to push it because the team is just gobbling up these quarterbacks. The draft room. Brock Bowers going 99. I don't know that I would take Bowers with Andrews, but that does sound pretty cool actually when I say it out loud. Somehow I've been getting a lot of Rome Odunze. I mean, I have him ranked a bit higher than probably ADP right now. So Caleb Williams looks like a pretty attractive early kind of mid-tier QB. And of course he goes to the team with Rome Odunze. That's like the most natural stack right now. Everyone who takes Rome takes Caleb, if he even makes it back to you. Jaden Daniels, great pick with Terry McLaurin. Saw that one coming a mile away. And Bijan. I'd say that's a good looking team right there. Could be a little difficult at wide receiver, but I like the way he's playing it. Jaden Daniels goes, I think I do just take Brock Purdy with my next pick and don't really push it or risk it. I already got lucky with Mark Andrews, so. And I don't think I want Pollard here. I got a lot of Brian Robinson Jr., so I don't necessarily feel like I'm in a position where I have to take a running back here. Just look at the wide receivers. At the 107, there's no one here I really feel like I have to get. Man, Njoku is pretty sick. He really paid off last year at the end of the season. But he was going, I think, if I remember correctly, he was going a little bit later than the 10th round. So I take Brock Purdy, stack him up with Brandon Ayuk, and feeling a little bit better about the QB position. I think.
Soldier boy, tell.
Oh man, I don't feel like I want to take another QB right now. Definitely a wide receiver. Shaheed, I take a good amount of. Jerry Jeudy. I think I'll go with Shaheed here. This whole round 10, I feel like that's a bit high for Shaheed. I kind of wanted to balance my team out a bit by taking a wide receiver there. Usually I like to get Shaheed at the 10-11 turn. I think he gives just some depth with a weekly ceiling and a good give me like a veteran player that should be on the field taking a lot of snaps. I mean, there's probably more season-winning upside with like potentially a Brian Robinson Jr., maybe a Chase Brown or Blake Corum. So easily could have taken another running back. I just feel like if you end up taking 4 non-wide receivers in a row, then naturally you want to balance it out. You take what the board gives you, but it wasn't a bad spot for Shaheed. Also gives me one more way out with my QB2, where I could be looking to potentially take a Derek Carr. We'll see if that works out. The more I think about it, I don't really feel like I want to get too invested in Derek Carr in this build. I feel like I need to get more upside with a QB that has rushing upside, and those are kind of running out. Which means I'll probably take, if Herbert falls, which I don't think he will, in this room, pick 131, take Justin Herbert, and then just make it work. It always kind of sucks if you don't have Ladd, but I could reach on QJ and play into the narrative that he isn't a complete bust. Josh Palmer could be there. I could make that work, but I'm pretty sure Josh Palmer and Justin Herbert are going to go. Okay, so Herbert goes to the team that has Ladd and CJ Stroud. It's a pretty decent build there. CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, Steph Diggs, Josh Jacobs at the end of the 4th. Can't hate on that. And then takes Mostert later on. Pretty solid for 2 RB build. Yeah, the team in the 2 slot, the team in the 7 spot, both with some pretty solid builds. I think where I'm lacking right now is definitely the QB department, which means if I can play my cards right, I can still make this work with the second half of this draft and just taking a later QB, stacking them up, game stacking them, going for one of these rookies. I don't have to worry about the QB buy, so I could always end up just taking a 2 QB build here, not having to worry about that third one. Alright, I'm next on the clock. Next up, let's see what we got. Jerry Jeudy's still there. I think that's a solid pick. Jared Goff is still there. Almost makes me want to take Jared Goff. So I'm going to take Jerry Jeudy here. I think he's just a solid upside player. Veteran, could find his way on this team, take over that wide receiver 2 role and have some decent weekly upside. His bye week doesn't hurt me. I just have to avoid taking too many players who are going to end up on week 14 bye. So there's a decent amount of rookie QBs who are playing on week 14. Knicks, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. Don't have to worry about Jaden Daniels since he's already gone, though. Goff goes to the Laporta team. I kind of handed him over there. I just don't want to stack up Jared Goff with Gibbs and no other pass catchers on that offense. Also, I've got enough Xavier Legette right now, so I'm not feeling like I need to take him. Ricky Pearsall is going to be a bit of a reach, but do I think he comes back here at pick 155? Probably not. Still got to think through this late game QB2 situation. I don't really want to end up taking Deshaun Watson. I think I do want to take potentially one of these rookie QBs. I just need to figure out. I don't want to take Derek Carr, even though I took Shaheed. And now I took Jerry Jeudy. I'm kind of limiting myself, my options. I've already got 7 wide receivers. Feels like an 8 wide receiver build. Might have to be 9 if we need that extra pass catching correlation. Or ends up being a 3 tight end build. There's a ton of late tight ends who I feel like they also have week 14 bye. There's a few guys out there. Hunter Henry, Sennett. Jelani Woods, Dulcich, although I haven't been drafting any Dulcich. I think I've got Jelani Woods probably one time by now. Okay, let's look at the board. There's a few more picks until we're up again. Now gone. I've taken 3 wide receivers, my last 3 picks. In the 10th, 11th, 12th rounds, I go Rashid Shaheed, Jerry Jeudy, and Ricky Pearsall. Pearsall being the only player there that I've already got a 49ers bet with Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk. So I've got 2 pass catchers to bring back with Jamar Gibbs. I've got Zay Flowers, Tank Dell, little mini there. Week 17 correlation. Xavier Worthy and Jonathan Brooks. Solid rookie prospects. Longhorns making it to the NFL, about to show out. Been watching them. I've been watching the Longhorns. I haven't missed a game in probably just about 13 years. I haven't missed a Longhorn game, and that was the best offense I've seen them field since then, by far. Even the last 2 seasons, you miss out. You lose Roshan, Bijan. 2 seasons ago, they finished up and then graduated, got drafted. But the pass catchers with X, with Adonai Mitchell, and even Jatavian Sanders, Jonathan Brooks being, catching a decent amount of balls too. And of course Jordan Whittington, who does end up getting drafted to the Rams. I don't think he'll really carve out a role there, but the Rams have had some problems with depth at wide receiver over the last couple years. And injuries. I don't think Tutu Atwell is really that guy for them. Jordan Whittington's like the opposite of Tutu Atwell. He's an incredible blocker downfield, and that's kind of, I think, how they'll use him, honestly. It's blocking for the other wide receivers and pass catchers. Okay, could be a spot to take Tyler Algier. Up in a few picks. It's going to be 155, 158. If I could wait on Juwan Johnson, but he's kind of been going earlier. There's a chance he falls to me, and then that sets up Carr, which I don't want to do, but it's becoming more obvious. Algier's fine. I just don't think. Is that the player I want here? Be a running back. If I take wide receiver, I'm really close to being done. Roman Wilson's kind of intriguing. Plays worthy in week 17. Could always take Justin Fields. And I probably would with this build. This is looking like a Justin Fields team, honestly. Although the 49ers and the Steelers have the same bye. So then it's a 3 QB build. I take Derek Carr for some stability. Bada bing, bada boom. I think that's what I'm doing here. So Jalen Warren, Roman Wilson, Xavier Worthy. I'm building out a Week 17 game stack where Xavier Worthy's going to go off for a touchdown, long bomb touchdown. Roman Wilson, he's going to have his best career game that week. But Jalen Warren is going to be the one who steals the show and puts up the RB1 week in Week 17. And that's the story. That's how this team works out, making those bets. Although it's kind of later in the draft, so I don't have to worry too much about those, like the Roman Wilson bet working out. Jalen Warren's probably the better bet there. Man. I could take Juwan Johnson. I could take Ray Davis. I don't know what Ray Davis does for this team. I just didn't want to take Vidal again or Gibson. And I think it's just a bit too early for any of those other running backs to come off the board. And I don't even know which one, if I think about it, who would I even want on this team. So Ray Davis, not a guy that I've gotten a ton of, but taking him pretty much at ADP, being that RB4, we're pretty thin at running back. Just if you think about having 4 running backs through my first 14 picks, I kind of missed out on that tier. If you see here, what starts about Kendre Miller goes through Ford, Marshawn Lloyd, Jalen Wright, and Ty Chandler. I feel like that's just one big tier gap after them, a tier break after them, and there's a gap. Algier, Ray Davis, Antonio Gibson, just not as exciting in my mind. So, but they didn't make it back around. Ended up going Roman Wilson, which I think works out really well. Although now I've got kind of an issue with my Week 9 bye. It's not overwhelming, and it's kind of in the middle of the season, so I don't think it'll hurt too much. Cool. 179, 182. I would take Justin Fields and potentially if Carr is still there and other quarterbacks have already gone, and it feels like I can't push Carr around to 200. I probably could, but I need to check out who's got Olave. I thought it was one of these drafters in the middle here. In the 6th spot has Chris Olave. Already has Mahomes and Caleb Williams. Always the chance, though, they could still take Carr. Especially as I look at his team. He's got a lot of Bears. DJ Moore. Odunze. Caleb Williams, of course. Cole Kmet. There's a pretty good chance he feels good about his stacks and doesn't need to take Carr with Olave, so that's what I'm thinking of. If he takes Juwan Johnson here, if anyone takes Juwan Johnson, they immediately become a threat to take Derek Carr. And if I lose him, the only bummer is I'm going to miss out on QB scoring in Week 9 if I just stick with a 2 QB build and take Fields. But I'm not really certain which other quarterback I'd want to make work from here. I could always take Bryce Young, pair him up with Jonathan Brooks, take a late flyer on maybe Jatavian Sanders. I feel like I don't want to draft Jonathan Mingo. And, of course, we've always got McMillions, Jalen McMillan. who's usually available. Would be a nice little Tampa Bay Buccaneers bring back, considering I've already got 8 wide receivers. It's probably not the way I want to go, though. And I don't really have any Raiders that I have in mind that I want to take. It could be, honestly, if I do take Carr and I need a last-minute running back with a last pick, it could be an Alexander Madison team, as gross as that is, as that sounds. Maybe Trey Tucker? No, I don't think I'm going to take that. That doesn't make any sense. I feel like I'm probably done at wide receiver. Bucky Irving falling to me would have been, I feel like, I don't know. Same thing with Kate Otten. It's kind of like, okay, maybe you still go for the Bryce Young Panthers Tampa Bay game. Bryce Young by week 11. On the clock, Justin Fields is there. Of course, is ahead of ADP. This is the 16th pick, 15th and 16th pick. So, is it Cade Otton? Is that the way to play this? I don't know. I think it's not. I'll take a Braylon Allen. Way ahead of ADP. I took Justin Fields way ahead of ADP because right now I've got a huge bet with the Pittsburgh Steelers in this team. I've practically got a skill position player everywhere but tight end, and Freiermuth falls sometimes. I think where he went in this draft was just not really the spot where I would have taken him ahead of Ricky Pearsall. Probably didn't need Jerry Jeudy on this team, so there's another opportunity there where I could have taken, I don't know, Zach Charbonnet or Zeke. Might make my running backs feel a bit better, just because now I'm ending up with 3 out of my 5 running backs being rookies. There's always a chance they just underperform. We haven't seen what they can do yet. I feel good about Braylon Allen, though. One of the only Jets that I look forward to drafting right now. Nice. Aaron Rodgers goes. Probably could have pushed Justin Fields, but the guy I want, Braylon Allen, still there. With my last 2 picks, because Juwan Johnson's gone, I'm not as convicted to take Carr. Take Braylon Allen. Push QB and tight end into my last 2 picks. Finish up with 5 running backs. So yeah, what would make sense here is to go with probably Derek Carr first, Bryce Young second, JJ McCarthy naked on this team doesn't do a lot for me. I think I'd rather have May, although I passed on Ramondre and I didn't end up taking Javon Baker either. Where did Polk go? Polk has been a player that I've drafted a good amount of, Jalen Polk. He's going 142. That's a good spot for him. I would take him ahead of that. I could have taken him where I took Ricky Pearsall. That would just give me another out for the Chargers, and then instead of Roman Wilson, I might be looking to... Nah, QJ went 138, so he didn't fall either. It would have been trying to get Joshua Palmer where I took Jerry Jeudy. That's what I could have slowly set up that Chargers New England Patriot Week 17 game stack, but just like 1 or 2 picks off. Thinking through ways where I ended up with a QB2 or even a QB3 that I had a little bit of a better team fit for. Derek Carr goes. Honestly, I'm happy he goes. I didn't want to have to draft Derek Carr. I think even Bryce Young has a little bit more, potentially has as much upside. He goes. So, what tight ends do I have? What quarterbacks do I have left? We're going to need one of each, potentially. I really don't want to bet on Bo Nix, Craig Dulcich. That would have been cool to get Bryce Young, maybe Jatavian Sanders. Just as easy could go Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones. Give me a little bit of coverage and QB depth. Maybe if Justin Fields doesn't win the job outright to start the season. The sucky part there is still tight end. I'd want to stack up. I'd want to have Bellinger. Not the strongest pick, but I think for this team it's just fine. It's the time you end up, going and taking him. He's the only team it makes sense on. Definitely feeling a little bit weak at running back. But if Gibbs and Warren are the two guys you need, and Jonathan Brooks is fully healthy, then there's a decent chance that those three alone are good enough. Braylon Allen or Ray Davis hitting could just be icing on top. And I don't think I have a way to build out anything with May or Nix at this point. So it's looking like a Daniel Jones team. Tucker Kraft injuries kind of got me off of him. And what sucks too is like there's still going to be some Giants left here. I don't think it makes sense to go solo tight end. Do I want Theo Johnson? I think Daniel Bellinger's honestly fine. Let's do it. It's going to be Daniel Jones. Lock him in. There's no way he takes Bellinger. Even though he does need a tight end. He goes Fant at the 12th spot. So I'm going to wrap up this draft with a Daniel Bellinger. I think potentially the pick I'd want back would be the Jerry Jeudy pick. End up going 7 wide receivers. Maybe have a little issue with the week 9 bye in that wide receiver core, but could have given me a position to take a better tight end too, or even a different path on running back. Because I feel like where I took Jerry Jeudy at 131, like I said earlier, a Zeke or a Charbonnet just feels like it would top this running back off. Top off this running back room, and then I'd have to take Ray Davis where I did. I end up with maybe Baker. More incentivized to take Otten then with one of these picks, right? Maybe I took Justin Fields, but I still could have taken Justin Fields. Maybe miss out on Braylon Allen at that point. I don't know. Dameon Pierce. Ooh, Dameon Pierce would have been a fun last click for running back with the little mini I've got with my Ravens and Texans. Another running back that could have worked out for this team. Potentially a team would be good to get Elijah Mitchell on. having a bet already on the 49ers and not having CMC. He goes 198. That's a good spot for him. I took Braylon Allen instead. So that's the squad. We built out a 3-5-8-2 Brock Purdy led team. Ends up with Justin Fields and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones somewhat forgotten because of his injury and some skepticism about his outlook and holding down that QB job, constantly getting injured. Justin Fields, I think, is an all upside pick. Take him at pick 179. But I'd already made the bet on Jalen Warren and ended up taking Roman Wilson. Bring it back with Xavier Worthy. I stacked up my first 4 picks in the same game stack. In 2 games, I took Jamar Gibbs and Brandon Ayuk, and then Zay Flowers and Tate Dell. After that, followed it up with Xavier Worthy and Mark Andrews, doubling down on the Texans and Baltimore Ravens game. Jonathan Brooks and Jalen Warren. I felt really good about those running back picks. It's kind of in these middle rounds. Maybe instead of taking Jerry Jeudy or Rashid Shaheed, I take a running back there and feel a lot better about the squad. Don't have to take Ray Davis. Maybe gives me some different tight end or QB options. So overall, I mean, I get the elite tight end with Mark Andrews. I have a pretty solid, nearly elite wide receiver core. And yeah, that wraps it up. I would call this pretty good late 3 QB build. It's not the most exciting, but I think it does the trick. And the running back's probably a little bit underwhelming, like I said. Yeah, overall is a good room. I saw about 2 or 3 other teams that I really liked there as well in this room, so that's how it goes. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining the stream. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications if you're a best ball sicko, if you're a degenerate and you're going to be out here in these streets drafting late at night. You can jump into these drafts, draft with me, come chill and chat, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.
Soldier boy, tell.